Like every Yontif, the event that created the Yontif, like coming out of Mitzrayim, the giving of the Torah, the miracle of Purim, it's an event that remains forever, a timeless thing in heaven, in the heavenly worlds. On the anniversary of the holiday, of the event, the power and the godliness of the event becomes available to the world on earth more than any other day. Although it affects every day, because every day we're coming out of Mitzrayim. We mentioned coming out of Mitzrayim and the davening. But on the day of Pesach, it's much more available than it is during the rest of the year. And the same is true with the Yom Tov of Yutes Kislev. What the gate that opened up in heaven, that made Hasidus available to the world and to human intelligence. Because Hasidus was available to the world from the times of the Baal Shem Tov, but not so much to the human intelligence. It was available in your emunah. It was available as an inspiration from a distance, but it hadn't become available in your seichel. That a human being should be able to understand and explain to himself the godliness of creation and the godliness of Torah and the godliness of a Jew. So on this day, everything that happened in the heavenly worlds is now available to us, and every year it goes up to a higher level, and what becomes available to us is that higher level. So this Yutes Kislev is greater than any Yutes Kislev that ever preceded it. So let's take a quick look. What exactly are we getting from learning Tanya? The Alter Rebbe's Tanya. We all know that it was based, the whole Tanya is based on the Pasuk, Ki karev elecha hadavar ma'ed, leficha b'lvavcha la'aseh. And the Alter Rebbe asks a simple question, but a very crucial question. Torah says that every Jew naturally has an ahava to Hashem, loves God. But the experience in this world, in reality of this world, it doesn't seem that way. On the contrary, in order to develop a love for Hashem, you have to have a great avodah, you have to study a lot, you have to be isbeinin a lot, you have to work on yourself, make the keli edel so that it can accept that ahava. It's not natural. The question is whether it's even possible. And yet the Torah says it is totally natural for every Jew. So the Rebbe wants to explain how the reality on earth matches what the Torah says, that every Jew has a natural, effortless love for Hashem. So if you're going to explain it, you have to consider two possibilities. If in fact every Jew by nature loves Hashem, and then you see that it's not happening in our daily experience, where do we look for the problem? Where's the catch? What's blocking this natural ahava, this natural love that we have for Hashem? So since there are two elements in the Pasuk, every Jew loves Hashem. So there are two possibilities as to where the problem lies. Either the problem is we're not in touch with our own Jewishness. The Jew in us is blocked, and it's the Jew in us that loves Hashem. So if we're not in touch with the Jew in ourselves, then we're not in touch with that natural ahava. That's one possibility. The other possibility is that we have a completely mistaken concept of Hashem. Who are you trying to love? The creator of the world? In very practical terms, if you try to love the creator of the world, it's not going to be natural. Because in the world, there's Tov and Ra. You can thank and love Hashem for all the good that happens, but what about the bad? So you say, no, there's really no bad, everything is for the good. Okay, that's already not simple. That itself is already an avodah. So you can't say it's natural. Completely natural. Karev ma'id. It's not ma'id. You have to be on the level of Rabbi Akiva or Nachum Ish Gamzu. This is not natural. So if you're thinking about the Eibishter as a creator, and you're grateful for the world that he created, Rishayim Gevrin Beit, Alma Deshika, not everything is peachy. If you love Hashem because he is the giver of the Torah, then again we have a problem with how natural it is. Everybody appreciates Torah. So you're saying anyone who understands Torah, loves Torah, learns Torah, will appreciate the Eibishter for giving us the Torah. That's natural? Very natural? Even al pi Torah, not everybody's mechuyev to learn Torah because some people can't. So then it's not the nature of the Jew that loves Hashem. You found something precious, you love learning, you love the Torah, not natural. So which Eibishter, which God are you loving? So you love the God who is your Father. Avinu Shabashamayim. Enough said? Everybody loves their father? In principle, of course. How can you not love your father? How can your father not love you? Even in Chassidus, there are the Misholim of a father and a son who get into a bad relationship, and the father punishes the son or banishes the son. So, what is it exactly that you're loving? So, one of the ahavas, the different kinds of ahava that the Alter Rebbe describes in Tanya, is the ahava that is called kamayim haponim el ponim. And what does that mean? The ahava, the love that the Eibishter has for you, you feel it and you reflect it back. It's a reciprocal love. And that's completely instinctive and natural. You don't have to have any seichel for that. It's a reflection. You put your face in front of a mirror, you get a reflection. There's no avodah there. More than that, the less seichel you have, the further away you are, and the lower you are, knowing that he loves you anyway, makes the ava stronger on your part. He loves me. He's the highest of the high. I'm the lowest of the low, and he loves me. So the fact that I'm low, and the fact that I don't learn, and the fact that I don't have any talent, makes me love him back even more. So, if you don't know this, if you don't feel the Eibishter's Ava, then of course you're not going to love him back. Someplace deep down inside, subconsciously. So the Alter Rebbe, in order to answer the question, how is it korev elecha hadavar ma'id, he had to explain two things. First of all, you have to know what a Jew is. And secondly, you have to know who the Eibishter is. And that's why the first two parts of Tanya, the Sefer Shel Beinani tells you what a Jew is. And the second part, the Shara Yichud Ve'emunah, tells you who the Eibishter is. And the Alter Rebbe had the option of starting Tanya with Shara Yichud Ve'emunah, or starting the Tanya with Sefer Shel Beinani. What is the question? What's the issue? The issue is, if you're going to explain these two things, what is a Jew and what is the Eibishter, which one should you do first? Well, first you have to know what the Eibishter is. Then, first you have to know what a Jew is. So there were those two possibilities, and for a while the Alter Rebbe put Shara Yichud Ve'emunah first, but then for whatever reason he decided that's like the question of which comes first, Torah or Yidden. So at any rate, the Alter Rebbe decided to put the Jew first. So, what is Chassidus, Chabad, all about? If you can sum it up, at least in one possible description. One possible description is Chassidus reveals the truth of a Jew and the truth of the Eibishter. And what we didn't know is how godly a Jew is, Chelek Elokah Mimal Mamash, and we didn't know how invested the Eibishter is in his relationship to us. And that's why the natural ava that a Jew has for the Eibishter was not happening. So, to put it in very simplistic terms, a Yid is much higher than you ever imagined, and the Eibishter is much more down to earth than you ever imagined. As a result, a Yid is capable of natural love for the Eibishter, and the Eibishter is lovable enough that you shouldn't need any efforts to love the Eibishter. For most part, I think it's true to say that at this stage in history, at least the first part of Tanya has become universal, which is what the event of Yutes Kislev was meant to do, to make Chassidus universal. It's not for Chassidim, it's not for Chabad Chassidim, it's universal. It's the layer of Yiddishkeit that has become necessary and appropriate for our generation, just like the Mishnah became appropriate for that generation, and the Gemara became necessary and appropriate for that generation, and the Rambam, Shulchan Aruch, became necessary for that generation, and then the Arizal made Kabbalah available. This is the part of Torah that our generation, in preparation for Mashiach, needs to have. So it is not for a group of people, it's not for some people. It is now the Torah. So I'm saying that the essence of a Jew and the godliness of a Jew, you might say, has become universally accepted and appreciated. A Jew is a Jew. There's no such thing as rejecting a Jew, as not being as Jewish. That idea is gone. How deep and how far, that still needs to be appreciated. But that a Jew is a Jew and that's it, that's pretty much a universal About the Eibishter, we still need a little effort. How close is the Eibishter? Particularly after a Holocaust, when people were convinced that the Eibishter had abandoned the world and doesn't care. So Hasidus is definitely the cure for that machla, for that makkah. So on a Yom Tov like this, because the godliness is more available and more reachable than the rest of the year, if we make a resolution, and we're always making good resolutions, we always try to be better and become better and do better, and it doesn't always happen. Today, if you make a resolution to appreciate Chassidus, to get deeper into Chassidus, to apply it to your daily life, and I'm talking about these two things: being in awe of every Jew, the godliness of every Jew, and seeing the Eibishter as being close and involved and busying himself with us, because that's really the whole kavanah, his whole kavanah in creating the world, is to have his Am Echad and so on. If you make the resolution to do that today, it is more likely that you'll succeed in fulfilling it. Because today we have a kayach, we're given the strength to join the bandwagon and to get into the swing of Hasidus and the Alter Rebbe's way, as it's explained by the Rebbe. So make the resolution. You're entitled. This is your Torah. You inherit it effortlessly, like every other Jew inherits every part of Torah effortlessly, because you don't have to have any talent to inherit. You just have to exist and you inherit. So we should make good resolutions, and we should fulfill those resolutions, and we should do it the way the Alter Rebbe wanted, for real, personal, and besimcha.